Welcome to Sculpture Studios. Creating something today for French courtier and perfumer Marc-Antoine Barrois, who has opened his first boutique outside of Paris. Between Piccadilly and Jermyn Street, on London's Piccadilly Arcade, you'll come across a private little establishment whereby, if you haven't already seen Marc-Antoine's name on the wall, well, surely there must be something else to look out for. With the intention of making shopping in person an experience more so than simply purchasing something online, the most prominent feature, when first observing the outside of the boutique, is the giant blue bunny suspended upside down from the ceiling. With the aim of tapping into someone's inner child, this Alice in Wonderland storybook type feel is very much a passion of Marc-Antoine's, and is a response he tries to elicit with his fragrances also. With the original bunny being an inflatable and being somewhat noisy in the store to keep fully inflated, they're exploring the option of having something sturdier made. We've been approached to make a suitable replacement from glass fibre, and so it's down the rabbit hole we go.
Just starting to mock up a sketch on the floor, and it's going to be hanging upside down. At the moment they have an inflatable hanging up, but they wanted something a little bit nicer and a lot quieter instead of the fan going. But that's it gridded up. The tracing of the front of the bunny, and on the floor we have the side of the bunny down there. I'm using here, which is a very fine glass fibre, which I use for tracing all the time because it's really quick and it's economical. Put these two profiles on the front and the side, and also a top plan view, and then cut it out in cubist form in polystyrene, and then got on with the fun part, which is the carving, which is the best part that I enjoy. So I'm going to be carving it in polystyrene, making a pattern and a mould, and then a beautiful cast with metalwork in the top. Very nice project to take on.
Starting with our usual 8x4 by 2 foot billets of polystyrene, we cut the blocks down into suitable size sections using a hot wire. This is a handheld set of tools, by which we also use a hot wire table for smaller solo work. A polyurethane expanding foam is used to join everything together, and then left to set before Aden starts the carving. This kind of blocking out shows how, despite all of the advances in technology and things like CNC cutting, sometimes things can be far quicker and certainly more artistic creating by hand. Sometimes we'll go down a CNC route if absolute accuracy is required, but for the sake of Aden being a sculptor, and for the videos and you guys watching on the channel, well, where's the enjoyment in that? The advantage of a handheld hot wire tool is that you can increase and decrease the length of the wire based on whatever you're cutting. You can also manage shorter wire lengths on your own as a solo tool, and you can take material off very quickly. Of course, you need to be careful with exactly what you're removing and make sure you don't lop off the entire ear, but Aden's had many years of practice, and at the end of the day, practice is one of the biggest tips we give to anyone who asks about getting into carving and sculpture. You can read every book you like on how to play football, but if you've never actually kicked a ball, well, you get the idea. Aden then moves to nail and wire brushes to start refining the shape. He'll later go over with a sandpaper once he's happy with the form to smoothen down the bobbly texture of the polystyrene. Once the master carving has been approved by the client after having any further amendments made, Aden then starts going over with a water-based wallpaper paste. Basically, in order to create a mould for this, we're going over the form with a foil to act as a barrier between the foam and the resin and glass fibre going on top. However, this isn't our usual sticky back tin foil, but a very thin foil sheeting. The wallpaper paste is sticky enough to adhere the foil to the polystyrene, but acts enough as a release agent to help extract the master pattern from the inside of the mould later. The sticky backed foil that we often use is intended for when there's no need for the polystyrene to come out of the job, or when the foil is used as a top finishing layer. So that the mould of the body can split apart into two pieces, we create a dividing wall around the peripheral of the shape. We then go over with a gel coat layer, which will be backed up with glass fibre mat and resin. We're creating a very lightweight mould, which is called a waste mould, named as such because we're only intending to get one cast from it before the mould is then disposed of. When both sides have been completed, the resin has cured and the master pattern removed from the inside, we then clean out the interior. We jet wash the remaining foil out from the inside and sand down the surface to improve the result of the final cast. We go into the mould with a PVA blue release agent, appropriate as we're creating a blue bunny, and we then go in with a gel coat of resin backed up with glass fibre. This needs to be strong and durable to withstand any potential damage, but not bumped up too thick, as this is eventually going to be hung from the ceiling. Each half is created inside the mould, whereby the mould is then joined and the seam lines laminated together from the inside. For the ears, which each have their own individual moulds in numerous pieces, these are a little trickier to join together. As you simply can't get your arm inside widthways, let alone all the way up the ear to join the two halves, we have to come up with a different solution. For these, we're creating what we call a squidge join, whereby the two halves are bonded together with chopped strands of glass fibre and resin packed out on the inside and essentially clamped together in order to cure solid. Whilst these are left to set, we're getting on and sanding down the entirety of the body section, making sure that not only are the seam lines nice and neat, but the entire surface as well. We routinely go over with a 2K grey primer, just to see where we're at in terms of level of finish, until it's ready for the top coat layer of blue. Of course, before any top coat colours go on, the ears need to be joined to the body section, laminated together from the inside. Once again, the seam lines are all cleaned up until we end with a perfectly seamless finish. To ensure that everything is perfect here in the studio, the last finishing touches are made before the very final layer of 2K car body paint goes on top. Of course, it's all well and good everything being finished here, but we need to get this to site, and put it this way, Piccadilly Arcade isn't exactly known for its spaciousness, so let's hope it can get through the doorway. If you happen to be passing this area of London, perhaps take a very short detour, not quite down a rabbit hole, but just down to number 4 Piccadilly Arcade. Myself and Aden happened to be in the area a little while later, so we popped in to see how the rabbit was doing, and a big thank you to Natalia and Agnes at Marc-Antoine Barrois for the warm welcome. We always love hearing what you guys at home think of our projects and our channel, so please feel free to drop a comment below, and by all means subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep up to date on our latest videos. A big thank you to all of our patrons who support our projects and the creation of our videos. We love having you guys on board, and if you'd like to support our family run studio, you can find our Patreon details below. However big or small, it's greatly appreciated from all of us here at Sculpture Studios. Au revoir, and thank you very much for watching.